Wrestling as a whole has been pretty fantastic in 2024. We've had fantastic stories from WWE. We've had some great in-ring action from AEW. New Japan has came back from kind of a cold streak that they had the previous year, and there's been tons of other promotions and just overall great matches that they've been having. And so today we're going to be going over a collection of 10 matches that I would consider some of the best from this past year. We're about 3/4 of the way through 2024, so I thought it'd be a good time to kind of check in and see what's at the top of the list. And there's obviously going to be better matches at this past end of the year and things that can definitely jump onto this list, but I just wanted to kind of check in and see if my list lines up with some other people. I know that there's going to be a lot of diversity depending on what everyone consumes and watches in their wrestling. For me, I watch a lot of different companies, so there's going to be a decent mix of styles and companies on this list. There's not just going to be a ton of WB or AEW or anything like that. But obviously I have my preferences for what I like and what I dislike, so this is going to be skewed towards that. And I know that some people aren't going to like what I like, and that's cool. If you want to make your own list, that's fine. This is my list though, and it's obviously subjective. You can let me know what you think of the matches that I put on here and your potential favorite matches. I know not everybody keeps a list of what all they like, they kind of just watch it. But so far for this year, I have 160 matches that I've rated at 4 stars or better for me, and I have 4 or 5-star matches. I don't go above 5 stars, so that's really the peak for me. So I've got those on this list, and then I've got 4 3/4 star match, and then a bunch of 4.5 star matches, and we're gonna get right into this list. So at number 10, we have From Marigold Summer Destiny 2024. This was on 7/13/24. We have Io Sky versus Utami Hayashishita, and I'll give a brief summary of what it's rated on Cage Match. I know not everybody takes Cage Match into consideration, but it's definitely of note. I think this is rated at 9.08, and it also got 4 3/4 stars from everybody's favorite Dave Meltzer. This went 23 minutes and 1 second. I personally give this 4.5 stars. And it really was a total showcase for Io Sky. The entrance and just the aura that she brought to returning to Japan and really unleashing what she had become known to be in Japan when she wrestled there. Obviously, she's incredible in WWE. She's had a lot of really, really good matches there, but there's just something different about her in Japan. And that's where, she came up and the crowd was so behind her. This was obviously a dream match for Utami. She'd been talking about this for a long time. This is something that they wanted to make happen, and they ultimately did. And this was really just Io Sky just really beating the crap out of Utami for most of this match. She took a lot of offense, and it was really good looking stuff, a lot of intensity, super violent. If you haven't seen this match, definitely go out of your way to watch it. It was one of the, I personally preferred this to the Julia and Saori match, so it was the main event. I did see some people complain that Io Sky kind of just came in and bitched out one of Marigold's top stars, and I guess I could see that complaint, but to me that didn't really hamper it. It was just Utami fighting from underneath and really trying to overcome Io Sky, this person that she looked up to and idolized as a wrestler growing up, and ultimately made her get into wrestling. And at the end of the day, she couldn't get it done. Now, I would love for them to run this back and ultimately give Utami a win. Do I think that's going to happen, or do I have a strong feeling that it will? Probably not. Maybe they will, but I find it hard to believe that they're going to just let Io Sky take a loss to somebody who's not in their company. I mean, it's WWE. They hold the cards. They hold all the power. It's the same thing with the AJ Styles and Noichi Marufuji match. So I'm not really sure what people were expecting when it came to that. But yeah, I mean, there were some sick bumps in this match. There was like a middle rope German, and then Io hitting some crazy moves on her. It was really a total showcase for her. I really loved this. It's definitely my favorite Marigold match that they've had as a promotion so far, and that's why it's number 10 on the list. Definitely go out of your way to check that one out. And I just want to state again that these aren't in any really particular order until you get to the star differentials. Like the top 5 are pretty definitively the top 5 for me right now, and I've left off some matches from this list that definitely deserve to be here, but I just wanted to throw some variety in here, and they're all pretty similar in like where they're ranked and how I would put them on a pedestal. So there's not like, maybe I'm missing some, but I have a lot of really good matches this year. So this is just kind of a different mix and a different blend of matches that you can go to your way to watch, or if you already watched them, then you know how good they are. With that being said, my number 9 is one that happened more recently. We have Yuya Uemura versus Konosuke Takeshita. This was in the G1 Climax 34, Night 4 for New Japan Pro Wrestling. This was on July 25th, so pretty recent. It went 23 minutes and 11 seconds. Cage Match has this at 8.53, and then good old Dave has it at 4.75 stars. And I personally have it at 4.5 stars. And this was a really huge breakout performance for Yu Uemura, who's came back to New Japan last year as a part of the Just 5 Guys stable, and then we have the Outsider and Konosuke Takeshita, obviously from AEW, from DDT, and he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's put on so many great matches in this G1 Climax, and this is probably my favorite that he's put on. I know a lot of people really like the El Phantasmo match that he just had recently, and they just went back and forth and traded bombs. It was a pretty incredible back and forth match, and there's a lot of psychology in it too. So Yu Uemura does this finisher. It's called the deadbolt, and he like traps both. He's facing the opponent, and he traps both of the arms, and then he does a suplex, like a belly to belly, but he traps the arms and then traps them in a pin. And so the finish of this match was really innovative. It was Yu Uemura had the arms trapped, and Takeshita was really trying to fight out of it, and Uemura basically drove Takeshita to the turnbuckle and then used his momentum to flip him over and hit the deadbolt. And Takeshita was still trying to kick out, and his feet was moving back and forth. You know, obviously he wasn't knocked out, but he was so trapped in this finishing hold and this finishing move that he just couldn't escape, didn't have anything left, and that was the 3 count. These guys really went in there and sold the exhaustion super well. It was really a battle until the end. Just, it really blended the big bomb style of Takeshita, which is like the current work rate type of match, and then it really went well with Uemura's ability to really go back to the basics, which is his whole gimmick really, is that he is a perfectionist of the basics. So a lot of his moves are, you know, suplexes or, you know, pretty standard holds, but he does them so well that it's, you know, can actually put people away. And that's how he works the match, is a, you know, smarter not harder kind of mentality. And it really blended that well together and really showed that the fundamentals can overcome the big strikes and the big moves of somebody like Takeshita. But yeah, overall this was really, really good. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Takeshita proving that he's one of the best in the world, and this whole G1 has really been a great way for Uemura to show that he's one of the future aces of New Japan, and I would love to see these guys have a rematch down the line. At number 8 on the list, I feel like we have a pretty forgotten gem here that really showed out the storytelling portion of AEW from this year, and that's Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage from AEW Dynamite on 3/20/24. This was their I Quit match, the feud culmination. I give this 4.5 stars as well. And listen, the match itself was brutal. It was really, really good. 2 guys who have been working together for so long, going out there and just putting on a clinic, and I love the match overall, and the story is really what made this for me. I think this is one of AEW's better told stories that they executed. This really had been building ever since Copeland came into the company, so it had been built up for months, and then this was the culmination after Copeland had been screwed by Christian a few different times of not being able to win the TNT Championship. And like I said, this was the culmination of that, and it was just the heels getting their comeuppance and the baby faces eventually turning them away and winning. It was just a great feel-good story, and the match was excellent as well. I think I'm higher on this than a lot of other people. A lot of people probably forgot about this match in general. It's actually at 8.1 on Cage Match, and then Dave gave it 4.25 stars. And so I'm higher on this match than both of them. But yeah, I mean, the hardcore / I Quit stipulation is kind of overdone in general. I really generally don't like I Quit matches just because I think it's kind of dumb. They'll have people, they'll like hit them with like a fucking DDT, and they'll be like, oh, ask them, do they quit? And it's like, well, obviously they don't. Like, it was a DDT. Like, come on. I do think that overall this I Quit match was executed pretty well, though, and I just really liked it. The story was really well done, and this was the payoff, and I really, really enjoyed it. Number 7 on the list, we have legitimately 2 of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now. We have Kaito Kiyomiya versus Gabe Kidd for the GHC Heavyweight Championship at Noah Grand Ship 2024 in Yokohama. This was on June 16th, 2024. Cage Match has this at 8.57, and I am right around that. I give it 4.5 stars as well. And you'll notice that a lot of these matches up until the top tier are at 4.5 stars. And I really, really think Kaito Kiyomiya is genuinely one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now. He just consistently goes out there and delivers as Noah's ace. He has their main title again now, and he's really going on a great run with this title. But Gabe Kidd may be the most improved wrestler of the year. Or just my wrestler of the year in general. He's definitely top 5 for that. He's had so many incredible matches this year. He's really finding his character. He's really connecting with the New Japan audience. And then he goes to Noah as the foreign invader and really has a fantastic match with Kaito Kiyomiya. They're super bloody, super intense, super violent. It was a real slugfest. Just went in there and both of them are blading like crazy. It was a real phenomenal match, a real classic face versus heel, invading foreigner and the babyface champion, defending his company, keeping the top belt. I know some people think it was a little bit too long. I really disagree. I don't think it really overstayed its welcome at all with how intense and how just violent it was. And it's something with and granted, Noah has fantastic production whenever they actually do broadcast their shows, especially these big shows. Production value is incredible, probably second to WB. But the way that they do the lighting and the sweat flying off as they hit chops and the intensity of the forearm strikes, it's right up my alley. Really, really what I'm looking for in wrestling and in these hard-hitting feuds, these blood feuds that have been built up. They also did a tag match a few nights before that even elevated this even more if you were into that. It just really worked for me on a high level, and I would definitely get familiar with Gabe Kidd if you are not familiar with him. I think ultimately long-term he's going to be a pretty big star in the States if he actually wants to come over. He's tremendous. And then Kaito Kiyomiya is going to be an ace in Noah, or if he jumps ship to somewhere eventually, maybe New Japan, he's going to be an ace in Japan for a long time. So I would also get used to him if you like Japanese wrestling. And yeah, this just really worked for me. Fantastic match between the two. I really could have picked from a lot of different matches between Kaito and Gabe. They both had really good matches this year. Multiple different people. Kaito with Dr. Wagner Jr. and this Gabe match. And then when he, another title defense that he had a while back. I can't remember the name of who he defended against, but really, really good match. Gabe had some good matches with Shingo, Hanare, this match, and then even the G1, he's had awesome matches. So lots to choose from, but this is the one I went for with these two. At number 6 on the list, we finally made it to our first official WWE match. We have Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, WWE WrestleMania Night 2, and I gave this one 4.5 stars as well. Cage Match has this at 9.19, and I can't really disagree with that. I think if you're looking for if what you're in wrestling for is the spectacle and the absolute absurdity of events and storylines that really built up and culminate and just the absolute wackiness of wrestling, this is the match that is right up your alley. If you try and take this too seriously and think about it logically, like why is The Undertaker showing up, choke slamming The Rock? Why is John Cena there in his jorts and his bad haircut running out? Some of this the match didn't really make sense that much, but I don't really care. Like, it was the culmination of a big story. It's the biggest event of the year for wrestling, and it was just a whole lot of fun. If I'm looking for hard-hitting strikes and just pure wrestling from Gabe Kidd and Kaito Kiyomiya, I'm going right to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. If I just want to have a fun time with a wrestling event, and this is like a match you would definitely show somebody who isn't into wrestling, and they would get it. Like, they would have a lot of fun with this. I think anybody who watches this would have a good time with it if you just kind of turn your brain off and just enjoy the absolute spectacle that was this match. Totally overbooked, but in a good way. This is a good use of all the the bloodline rules, allowing anybody to run in and everybody to run in who's there. So I really enjoyed it. I don't know how you can really not enjoy this match, especially if you followed along with the storyline and have been invested in these characters, especially Cody and the entire bloodline angle that had been running for so long and is still running. But this was the end of a chapter in the bloodline and the end of a chapter in Cody Rhodes' story until the next one is opened the following night on Raw. Yeah, I just don't, there's not a ton to say about this. I mean, it's just, if you watch the match and you've been involved and invested in the WWE in a while, then this is a match made for you, and it's really, really good, really executed very well. Just a whole lot of fun. There's not really any way to hate on it, and I do think maybe the beginning minutes of it could have fallen victim to not being interesting, and that's something that you can point to in the Bloodline Rules match with Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes, is that they didn't really make it interesting because you knew people were ultimately running in, and so you weren't really invested in the opening minutes of the match. But this one you were, because you didn't know what to expect, and it was such a highly anticipated match, and they really made all of it work. It was 33 minutes, but it went by really quickly. And just a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun, super enjoyable match. I don't think it's going to be my match of the year, but if you're a huge WWE fan and invested in it all, I can see how this would be a 5-star perfect match for you. But that's why it's number 6 on my list. Moving on to number 5, this is kind of the opposite of what Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns is. This is just two dudes who just go in there and beat the shit out of each other, shoot headbutts, stiff clotheslines. You know, some people, they don't like it, they think it's unsafe. That's fine, but I personally love the style. I think it's amazing. And this is Tomohiro Ishii versus Masa Kitamiya, Noah Pro Wrestling One Night Dream 2. This was on May 22nd, 2024. This went 17 minutes and 46 seconds. It has a 8.60 on Cage Match, and then good old Uncle Dave gave it the big 5-star rating. And his scale's a lot different than mine. He goes a lot higher. I only go to 5, and I give this 4.75 stars. I mean, this match felt like it went 5 minutes with the intensity and the pace that these guys went at, especially when you think about Ishii. I mean, he's older, his body's breaking down. Masa Kitamiya is basically a younger version of Tomohiro Ishii. They have very similar styles, just two beefy, smaller dudes going in there just beating each other up. It was, I mean, it really... I'm trying to find a way to describe it. You have to go and see this to believe it, with how the crowd was super hot too, which really elevated it. And it's definitely divisive, like I said. Like, I've seen people really put down this match because, I mean, there's a visual where Masa Kitamiya shoot headbutts Ishii, and then Ishii collapses, and then you just see immediate blood trickling from Masa Kitamiya. But like, that shit is awesome. Like, that was it's so good, and it just fires you up. And it's just two dudes just going in there trading shots, just trying to prove who's better. And that's a simple storytelling beat that I just really enjoy. You know, some people need to have long-term stories and really be invested in the characters to really enjoy wrestling. And for me, if you just go in there and give a ton of effort and just want to be the best in the ring, like, okay, you just go in there, get in a guy's face, and they want to be the best, they're going to beat the shit out of each other, prove whoever is the best in the ring at this time. One guy wins, one guy loses. That fires me up. I really enjoy that. And like I said, I like the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns type of style too, but this type of wrestling is also right up my alley, and I could just watch these two dudes destroy each other for hours. Like, it'd just be awesome. It was just fantastic. And if you don't like this style, I mean, I get it. Two guys just trading shots and a big hoss battle, and it's not for you. You want a little bit more selling. I disagree and would think and would state that there is selling in this match and there is storytelling, but that's a debate for another day, and that's just personal preference. I don't really know how you could watch something like this and be like, oh, well, this isn't my wrestling. This isn't my cup of tea. But, you know, it's not, you know, some people like whatever they want to like, but I loved it. Coming in at number 4 on my list, this is the run of 5-star matches that I have from this year, and you're obviously going to see that I have a preference for some people in this top 4 with these 5-star matches. And number 4, we have Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita, AEW Revolution 2024, and I gave this 5 stars. Cage Match has this rated at 9.45, and then Dave Meltzer gave this how many stars? What was it, 5.75 stars? Something like that. And look, again, this is the modern type of style, the trading shots, big, exciting moves. A lot of people are going to say there wasn't a story into this, so how can you get invested into the moves? For me, the story is self-contained, right? Will Ospreay is debuting in AEW. He wants to go out there and prove that he is the best wrestler in the world, coming to a new company, and he's going up against another guy who's considered one of the best in the world in the ring, in Takeshita, and these guys go out there and they're just throwing bombs and having incredible sequences and just showing that they are two of the best in the world. And I think this was an important match to have for Will Ospreay and for AEW, because whoever wasn't familiar with him immediately became familiar with him and was like, oh, okay, this is a guy who I need to take seriously. This is a guy who can be the face of the company, who can really lead the company moving forward, and is a major player in the company. I think if you throw Ospreay in there with another guy, obviously he's going to have a good match, but if you put him in there with Takeshita, it really is going to go all out and show everything that they have to offer and really put him on the map in his debut match under AEW contract. Obviously, he had matches previously with them, but this is his official debut as a signed member of the roster. And so I think that as a logical piece of the puzzle that AEW were putting together here was really effective in establishing Ospreay as a guy who is one of the best in the world and needs to be taken seriously immediately. But not even taking that into consideration, if you just turn on the match and watch it, and you will realize the story is, again, these guys are two of the best wrestlers in the world. They are wrestling. One guy's going to win, one guy's going to lose, and that's the story. I mean, there was different selling of body parts and different types of storytelling that happened in the match. I mean, you don't need, at least for me, you don't need the story being screamed at you the entire match by commentators or by somebody on the outside. You just need, limb work and facials and moves and things like that to tell the story inside the match itself. And just ignoring all that, I mean, if you just judge this by in-ring work, it is an incredible match. They went in there and did things that were just out of this world impressive, and crazy spots and dangerous looking spots. Just really, really went out there and had a fantastic match. I know people hate Will Ospreay. I know people hate AEW in general. I think if people just gave this a fair shot and were being honest, they would realize that this is a great match. And if you don't, that's fine. But for me personally, I really enjoyed it, and it is one of my top matches of the year, and it's number 4 for me, and it's the first one that I have at 5 stars for the year. For number 3, this was a very divisive match when it happened, and I understand that, but for me, it just really hit on an emotional level and a violence level, physicality level, and this is the Bullet Club War Dogs versus the United Empire in the steel cage match from New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Beginning in Osaka 2024. This happened February 11th. And the teams were the Bullet Club War Dogs of Alex Coughlin in his retirement match, Clark Connors, David Finlay, Drilla Maloney, and Gabe Kidd. They defeated United Empire, which is Francesco Akira, Hinare, Jeff Cobb, TJP, and Will Ospreay's final New Japan match. This is at 9.01 on Cage Match, and I gave this one 5 stars. And also this match, let's just say it's 64 minutes and 5 seconds, just to get that out of the way. Now, I really typically don't like these War Games type of style matches, because for this match they had Ospreay and David Finlay start out, and then they had different members coming out with various weapons, and the timer was counting down, and so obviously the heels had the advantage, and the baby faces eventually come in and even up the odds and everything like that. But this just had so much violence. I mean, Coughlin retired from this match. Hinare was out for months from this match, from getting absolutely obliterated with a table shot. I mean, they wrapped his head up and sent him back out there. I mean, he was bleeding buckets. Gabe Kidd took some vicious chair shots to the skull. There was just so much violence in this match. Towards the end of the match, they removed the boards from the ring and tore up the ring, and were doing I mean, this was like actually dangerous stuff, and I know some people would hate that. I know a lot of people hate this match. A lot of people love this match, but for me, the elevated feeling of danger and not knowing what was going to happen during this match, they were doing like suplexes and stuff on the boards with space in between the boards. They had to be so incredibly careful during this. It's actually crazy that more people didn't get hurt. I'm sure a lot of them are still feeling the effects of this. It was just an absolute insane match. I personally don't think it dragged. I thought the entire time was gripping, and it really made me invested. Again, might just be me being a big Will Ospreay fan, but I was invested in the United Empire and Bullet Club War Dogs feud they were having, and knowing this is Will Ospreay's last match, the entire emotion around it, his final entrance, his final goodbye to New Japan, how he had been there for 8 years. The fans had really taken to him. They loved him there, and it was just it was really well built story wise, and then also the match on top of that was just phenomenal and insanely dangerous. I know I'm probably on an island with this one with 5 stars at least. I know some people really liked it, but I don't know if I've seen this high or anybody be this high on it. But I don't ever rate something 5 stars unless right after the match I say, okay, that was 5 stars. That was perfect. I loved it. 5 stars doesn't mean it's perfect in an objective sense, because it's wrestling. Nothing's objective. But for me personally, it was just perfect the way it was done. It just hit for me on another level. I loved it, and that's why it's number 3 for me. At number 2 on my list, I would say that this is probably number 1 for a good amount of people. Or, I mean, if you just hate Will Ospreay, then it's not. Number 2, I have Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. from AEW Dynasty 2024. And again, obviously I went 5 stars on this, and Cage Match has it at 9.71 with healthy amount of votes, 1,139, which is a lot more than you see for most of these events. But yeah, I mean, what is there really to say about this match that hasn't already been said? I mean, 2 of the best wrestlers of all time really going in there and just putting in work, and just first time ever matching up together, and that was all the story needed. That was really all you needed to get invested. And they went out there, what was this, 32 minutes and 40 seconds, went in there, and it just flew by. I was standing up and pacing for a lot of this match. I mean, it was pretty incredible, just the atmosphere and the different counters and the hype going into it. All of it just really culminated in something that was really, really special, a special moment, a special place, and a special match. I would really hope and love that we can get a rematch of this against, maybe when Danielson is a part-timer, he can come back and work with Ospreay again. There was really a bit of everything in this match. I mean, Ospreay's athleticism and then Danielson's intensity was really a combination that just worked together tremendously. And I really do think that everybody and anybody who's a wrestling fan should watch this match at least once, just to witness it, even if you don't like it, just to say that you've seen it, because I do think it is an important match in wrestling history in general. And just some absolutely insane bumps. I don't know how these guys didn't get hurt for it. I mean, I'm sure they were really, really banged up after, but I don't know how these guys weren't hurt for a super long time. The disgusting looking Tiger Driver by Ospreay. There was like a, what was there? It wasn't a German off the top rope, but it was like a back body drop, but it just looked absolutely nuts from Danielson to Ospreay. Yeah, I mean, is this the greatest match of all time? I don't think so. It's one of my favorites in a long time, and this is one of the rare occurrences where there wasn't any overbooked nonsense in AEW like they tend to do on some of these matches to kind of like hamper the finish of it. This was just pretty clean, straight up wrestling, just 2 guys going out there and really putting it all on the line and seeing who's better, and Ospreay was better that night. Danielson, he escaped, but with his he sold his little neck injury after the fact. Even if you don't like Ospreay or his matches in general, I think that Danielson kind of for a lot of this, it was a Danielson match, and then certain parts it was an Ospreay match. I think they blended together really well, had excellent chemistry, really created a special match. Like I said, I really think you should check it out if you haven't even watched it, like if you're just somebody who doesn't watch AEW at all. Really think that this should just be watched just in general if you're a wrestling fan. It was awesome. I mean, what is there more to say? I mean, it's the second favorite match of the year. I can go back and forth between this and my number one for favorite match of the year. I have my current number one just because hit on a different emotional level. And finally, my number one favorite match of the year is Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships from AEW Revolution 2024. And obviously, I also gave this one 5 stars. Yeah, just the emotion, the, Sting's retirement, the beautiful video package that they did beforehand, the match. It was a few minutes long, really showed Sting's career and everything leading up to this match. His really special entrance, just the entire story that had been built up in AEW. Sting's entire AEW run was really just perfection, and I know people say he didn't put anyone over, but Darby Allin has immensely benefited from his association with Sting. He's a made guy. He could be a underdog world champion in the future. People say the Bucks should have won here. I mean, I just don't agree with that. They won the titles eventually in the tag tournament. Sting winning and finishing off his career was the correct move here. But besides that, I mean, like I said, the emotion and then the actual match was just Darby Allin taking that bump off the ladder through that glass with the chair set up. I mean, I think that's a spot that's going to be ingrained in my brain for the rest of the time that I'm alive. It's one of the craziest bumps I've ever seen. And then him turning over, his back just gushing blood. He has a scar from it. People want to safety police and everything like that. For me personally, it doesn't bother me. I thought it was awesome. It's not my body, it's Darby Allin's choice, and he's a psychopath. He wants to do that stuff, so look, I'm gonna enjoy watching him do it. Even besides that bump, it was a Sting going through tables and then hulking up and taking out the Bucks. Just other various. It was just a perfect hardcore match. You had Flair getting involved in there too, and there were some good memes coming from the match. It's just one of the, technically, is it the best match of the year? No. But I think overall story-wise, the emotional-wise, and even hardcore-wise, this put together excellently. It went just a shade over 21 minutes and it flew by. It was just a spectacle. The crowd, the atmosphere, there was like 17,000 people there, everything surrounding it. I don't know how you could watch this match and not enjoy it unless you're just a super like heavy safety police, really can't watch people do things like that to their body. And I mean, if that's the case, it's like, I don't really know if certain styles of wrestling are for you. Maybe you can go watch CM Punk and Drew McIntyre fight over a bracelet. Maybe that's more your style. For me, this didn't bother me. I thought it was awesome. Like I said, could go back and forth with Danielson and Ospreay or this match being my number 1 or 2, but I think pretty solidly these are going to be my top 2 throughout the entire year, no matter what. And that will do it for my top 10 matches of the year so far as of July 31st, 2024. Let me know of your favorite matches in the comments, and if my opinions suck, let me know about that too. I have a spreadsheet on my Twitter at PW Bytes, and if you click on that, a Google Doc, it'll show you all the matches I've rated at 4 stars or higher and some little notes on them. I have, like I said, over 160 matches on there that just keeps growing because I'm continuing to update it and keep it nice and tidy and current. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. You can find all the socials that I have in the description below, and then also check out the weekly Bytes Breakdown podcast that I do, where I talk about all the various matches or events, news, whatever the case I feel like talking about. That occurs every Sunday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the other various places you can download podcasts and listen. That is going to do it for this video, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.